So, and let me see. I don't think Connor's here, and I don't think Moto's here. So we can probably, and I don't think Dallas is here. So I think we can zip around the map without worrying about spoilers too much. The laptop scene's very interesting, yeah. Very interesting. Oh my god. Core, I want to see it! I'm so enthralled by it. I want to see the laptop. I mean, you wouldn't get the meme anyway, but I need the I want to see the baby meme from The Mandalorian. I need it. Functions as a second monitor, but also as touchscreen. Yeah, it might be particularly useful for streaming, for like keeping track of extra stuff, but I don't know exactly how it works in terms of like, can you move your mouse to it? How does it interact with like the rest of Windows? I don't know. When are we getting a second season of that? It's coming out now-ish? Soon-ish? I don't know. I don't know when it's coming out. But sure seems to be... I keep seeing ads for it. Like little, like, mentions of it. So I imagine before the end of the year. Yeah. I'm just gonna hit this again since we didn't actually start the recap. All right. So last time, you may recall that the players had entered an underground cavern system of some sort. They were looking for a weapon, specifically a like sea monster, a kraken that would help them like kick a bunch of invading boats out of a bay surrounding their main port city of the city of the nation that they are aligned with. They arrived, and the first thing they found was not a sea monster. It was a person sitting in this chair in stasis, who they woke up. They turned out to be a summoner who, wouldn't you know it, summoned a sea serpent-like creature, but not very small, but smaller than they were looking for. They were looking for something gargantuan. This is something more of a large size, one might say, about 10 feet across. And that was like the majority of the previous session. This most recent session, they left this room. They started up here, actually. They'd like triggered these statues to wake up. Had a pretty brief combat with these. They were pretty punchy, but fell pretty quickly to Danzavar, to Sonus's like multiple crits. He crit both of these things, tore them down. They were pretty cool creatures. They have this whole thing where they have like 26 AC until you take out half their health, and then they have like 22 AC. They also had built-in hardness, so like their all damage was reduced by 5. And they had a thing where they could throw molten rocks at you, so that was cool. This one was like trapped back here, couldn't get through. The players thought they were safe from it, and then it set its like urn on fire. It's like a statue holding like an urn of water. Set that on fire, started just pulling out molten rock and throwing it at them from through this like little corridor. So that was like a nice touch. I do believe Solus went down. Moto's character went down, but then they finished this up pretty quickly. Sonus got hit a couple of times, got reminded that, he doesn't have a ton of HP. The players found then a bit of treasure. They found like a tarnished statue here that looked kind of like these. They found it to be like a toy automaton, and like a couple of other knickknacks in here, some like faded water damaged scrolls and books that they want to repair. And I like seeing that they were like interested in this stuff. They were naturally like, books, I pick up them all. I pick all of them up. And I was like, you might damage them if you look through them now. You can read them, but they're pretty like stuck together. They need some work to be like properly restored. They're like, all right, we'll keep them safe for now and we'll figure it out later. They want to like preserve that knowledge, and it's pretty nice. I don't think that they went up here and they got this wand, which is kind of sad because it's a pretty strong wand. So they like missed. I was like, yeah, there's like a corridor, there's a big room on the other end, but you can't really get through it very easily right now. And they were just like, okay, we'll ignore it. They came in here, found a teleporter that Adam used to get back to the main city of Eden. Just all of the religious references are right up front this time. So they presume that, well, actually they put the crystal in, it opened a portal that went back to the Emperor's old study in Eden. So they have a way back, it's a quick way back to the city if they want. Crystal is now attuned, they can come back here whenever they want. It doesn't give them a ton of flexibility. It's not like that far from the other teleporter they have. I just kind of wanted to give them a third exit if needed. Yeah. And a cool thing where they were like, okay, we see this door has a relief on it of the symbol of Scala, one of the old gods, one of the big four gods that were sealed away. And they're like, they just woke up someone who was a servant of Scala. They were like, do you have an amulet or anything that you could put in this? And Loki, she was like, let me think about this, and walked up. She's a servant of Scala, directly, was created as a divine being by Scala. So she just walks up, puts her hand on the door, and it just lights up and opens. So I thought that was a cool moment. The players seemed a little interested by that. They were like, yeah, that's cool. Cool. I like that nod. No, she's the new player character, played by Dallas. We do have a new player, yeah. Introduced, got a fourth back. Yep, that happened. The previous session was the first one, where they showed up, and then this was kind of the first full session that they got to play. The other one had some intro spiel. So yeah, Sonus put in the crystal and was like, oh yeah, there's some blood shenanigans going on. As I mentioned last time, it's blood god that was related to a blood god that Wormham is working with. Popped up and was like, hey, give me your axe that was made by the other blood god. And Wormham was like, nah, not a fan of that. And then they scorched him, his little avatar thing. But then they found that these statues were possessed by that same blood god guy. So when they went and they activated the crystal, they're like, maybe we should, Worm was like, we should close this and not let the blood god escape from here. That seems like a bad idea. Let's prevent that. And Solus was like, yeah, okay. Let's do that. Pulled the crystal back out and then they left. One thing I like, they have spent a long time in this dungeon. Look, they have cleared exactly this. Basically only half the dungeon in 2 sessions. Because they're being so cautious. They saw this blade ball and they're like, we gotta sneak by it. We don't want to fight that. Let's just leave it alone. And they've been really cautious about everything, really, really nervous. The blood god thing kind of seems to have set them off balance, on guard a little bit. So yeah, this automaton, when they were leaving, it was floating back this way. They hid, they snuck by it. The splatters of blood and bones kind of scared them, but party then got kind of separated, with Solus investigating up here and the rest of them out here, and the blade ball floated back. Thank you, Tommy. Thank you for the sub. And calling it like it is? Question mark? I believe the truth is that Cam... Well, never mind. I won't comment on it. So, Solus was up here investigating this, saw this spear sticking out of the wall. Kind of a cool spear. We'll talk about it in a minute. Round 2 fight. Hopefully not. I'd like to hear the comment. No, it's okay. It's not for your benefit that I paused. I think you could probably handle whatever snark I had. I think that the topic has staled, so I'm leaving it on the floor uneaten. That is what I'm doing. So Solus was up here. He saw the ball coming back and just hid. Didn't want to chance being spotted, so he just let it go by. Let it run into the party, who was busy investigating these... Fair, I'm gonna cry. I'm sorry. Busy investigating these skeletons. Kind of snuck up on them because it makes no sound until it lashed all of its blades back, ready to attack, sneaking right up on Sonus. And it had kind of an attack that its whole thing was that it has 8 blades, and it deals... If you don't dodge out of the way, it deals 8d6 damage, which can be quite a bit, but also it can be 8. I didn't roll super, 23 is what I got here. It was kind of low. There was a lot of 1s and 2s, but nothing too wild. That's still like a third of Sonus' health. But as they did damage to it, it like broke off blades of it. So the number of blades counted down. Everyone who got attacked by it dodged this like full attack action of swiping all the blades. It also got like unlimited reaction attacks, which the players thought was bullshit. I was happy about that. Every blade that it had like prepared and latched back, if you attacked or moved while that was up, it could just like swipe at you with it. So it did that a couple of times. And its singular strikes were stronger, had more weight behind them than like the frenzied attack. So they were dealing 1d6 plus 4 or something. So I don't know, that was fun. It was like a interesting little encounter. Nothing too serious, but I like that monster. And then they came over here. They just like continued investigating. They found this spear. Let me see if I can find it. Basically, what does it do? It lets you, if you crit with it, you get like 8 temporary HP or 1d8 temporary HP or something. Oops. Well, I'm all right. I'm never getting the other token back from under this thing. Never again. I'm really glad Dallas put that under this creature. Fantastic. Wonderful. Okay. What was I saying? So is it in the party? No. Is it on Sonus' sheet? I don't know where to find it anymore. Point being, if it crits, I think it like applies some bleeding damage and you get some temporary HP. So it's kind of neat. It can be a thrown weapon. Sonus picked it up, even though he has like many ways to attack it ranged. I kind of intended it to be a Warhammer weapon, so it might get swapped around a little bit. Party found the big serpent. They realized that the sea serpent they were looking for is dead. This cave was being watched by a sea devil baron, which is like a 4-armed kind of shark man thing. And like, he noticed that there was activity. Said, he came in and he said that he like heard a disturbance, and lo and behold, the party is here, and demands like what they're doing here. Basically, like they have a conversation about like this creature was basically, they came to investigate it a long time ago, as like kind of the only living thing that they knew how to find. The only connection they had to like their gods. They were worshippers of Dinala. When the old 4 got sealed away, this was like the closest thing they had. And then it was very quickly sealed in here, and they couldn't get to it because of the sentries. And, they saw that it was like being eaten away. It had like these tendrils on it when they walked in here, on all of the bones, like sucking energy out of it. Kind of the same as they've seen elsewhere. They knew that this blood god they discovered was like eating Loki's memories, and it was apparently literally eating Jormungandr, Loki's summon, who originally, had a fairly big body. So, Blood God has just been eating on this divine being for a while. I'm sure that won't be a big deal. Sea Devil had a little misunderstanding that the players didn't really correct that, like, it was Adam's doing, that this was being, like, absorbed, some scheme from the Emperor of Eden. And the players just let him think that. And then all this RP lasted like an hour and a half, by the way, like maybe 2 hours of just sitting here talking to the Sea Devil. Maybe less than that. I might be exaggerating a little bit. There was RP over here too, but a lot of talking, a lot of like figuring out what's going on by the players. They were really interested in like understanding this blood god, where he came from and what was happening, like figuring out why the body was gone when it was supposed to just be in stasis, why like Loki doesn't have his her memories, things like that. It was pretty fun. But they called out for this blood god to show up, rolled really high on a what is it? Intimidation check. Sonus rolled really high on an intimidation check. To like call him out and get him to pop out of this like blood pool. So he hopped up. He was like, all right, roll hacks. Like, I need to live here, so let's just talk, sate your curiosity, and then you can like get the fuck out of here and let me do my thing. Let me keep eating this god thing. And they talked for a while, just like asking him questions, asking him if he knew the floating city. It was like dragging on a little bit. And so I was just like, it was at the end of the session, and I was like, okay. Blood God turns to you and he's like, okay, enough questions. Chop, chop. like, get out of my house, and like summoned up these mixes of like blood and water and stone to fight the party, and that's where we ended. Second cliffhanger fight of in a row. And yeah, that's really about all there is to say to it, without recapping everything, every little thing that the players said. But it was a pretty fun session. I like when the players are invested enough to like take it slow and figure things out and like talk things out so much. I need to move Jormungandr. He just needs to not be under the skeleton. All right, great. So that was very gratifying to see. It was gratifying to see that they were like nervous about the combats in here. Connor had a point where he was like, okay, so I've done really well with these combats, but I'm out of spell slots, so just so you guys know, I'm not gonna fight as well anymore. And everyone's like, shit. We're running a little low on healing. And they definitely have this fight here. They don't know anything that's going on down here. They haven't investigated any of this at all, so they might start to get like a little worried about running low on the resources they have. Especially since they don't have great medicine checks. And this guy is already like, the blood god has already shown up and been like moving along when they like stopped to take medicine checks and stuff. So they can expect that to keep happening. Like if they make medicine checks, this guy might just get impatient and summon more like shit to fight them. Which might be counterproductive if they are trying to get resources back to like, you know, carry on. They don't have like unlimited time to do that. This is probably the first time that they've had that kind of pressure to keep moving. Like not having unlimited time to stop in medicine between fights. So yeah, there's like some risk to resting, and I like that feeling. I also think, I don't know, this fight might be kind of fun. These guys, okay. One thing I should mention, Loki like revealed that Jormungandr is like sealed within Loki, that they're like kind of one now. And the Sea Devil was like, okay, that makes me pay attention to you. You might hold more sway with me because of that. Don't know why yet. Don't know if that's fear or like reverie or, you know, reverie, adoration, whatever, you know. So we'll see how that goes. The players had thoughts of like using them, of like enlisting them to help have leverage against the ships that are invading their bay, that are blockading their bay and their trade route. Now that they like don't have this serpent to rely on, really. So we'll see how that goes. That could be interesting. But that's really it. That's really all I have to say about that session. It's fun, and I'm looking forward to the next one. This combat probably won't last very long. It's not meant to be challenging. It's meant to be come on, pick it up. It's meant to be an orcs attack, you know, break things up. And then we'll see if they like explore down here. I kind of hope they do, for reasons that you definitely didn't see down there. And yeah, there was definitely a moment running this where like I turned off a combat and it automatically went to the next combat and showed all of the players what was in it. And I was like, I don't like that, really. I don't like that that's not hidden. It was until I started a combat and ended it, and then it automatically jumped to the next one. I'm like, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. So it was like a little spoilery for the players. So, gotta be careful about that. If they have the combat tracker up, like, I can't even, like, page through these without them seeing it. It's kind of, stressful. I don't know, kind of weird. Yeah. So, that's about it for the recap. And I don't really think I have much to prep right now. I normally would use extra time on a prep night to like prep other stuff, like just make a random dungeon, fill it out, have nothing to do with the campaign, just for fun, like make a dungeon or something like that. Write up NPCs maybe for the campaign. Tonight I kind of want to play Genshin Impact. So we might just do that.